And I am starting the recording. So if everybody could note that. And so first, I just want to say thank you for participating in our JHU Student Journey Map Focus Group. As we stated in our initial email, the Office of Integrative Learning and Life Design, which if you're not familiar with, houses all of the career services offices at the university. We're just looking to gain a better understanding of what your student journey has been at Hopkins. So we're really excited to have this discussion day with you to hear about what have been your motivators, what have been your most impactful experiences while being a student here at Hopkins, and then future or further support that we can give in next steps in your journey while you're still here at Hopkins. So like I say, we are recording today's focus group, and what we are doing with these recordings basically is it's just a way for us to be able to go back and listen in to anything that were talked about, topics that were discussed. They're just going to be internal to our team, and we're not going to be kind of sharing them out with everybody. So please feel free to very authentically share information. Don't be afraid to kind of talk about something. It's really just going to be things that the team of myself, Jessica, and Jess Harley are going to be kind of reviewing and thinking about. We will be presenting our findings and the information we get from the focus groups to ILOD leadership, mainly in aggregate, mainly to his recommendations of kind of things going forward. And it's not any true self-identifying information. In terms of what we're going to do during the hour that we're together, do some brief introductions, give an answer to the our icebreaker question, and then after that, we're going to spend some time doing an empathy map with some of the questions that you've been sent ahead of time, and then we'll have a final part of doing some brainstorming about a current state versus a future state of your student journey. We will be utilizing Jamboard to facilitate the interactive portions of it, and we'll put a link to that into the chat when we're about ready to get to that. So before we get started, are there any questions or anything I can try to answer for you? Okay, great. So we're going to, again, start with a quick round of introductions. So again, I'm Paul Hutchison, Director of Career Services at the Bloomberg School of Public Health. I've been at Hopkins for over 20 years. In the past 14 to 15, I've been at the Bloomberg School of Public Health. And so I'll be your facilitator for today. And I just wanted to kind of give my answer to the question of general direction I want my career to go. So I'm still trying to figure that out. So like I said, I've been working for a long time, but I'm still trying to kind of figure out what I would want my career to kind of look like. But if I had to kind of look back at anything that I've done, I would probably say what I can always see as a unifying theme is that I've always wanted to help people. So in roles that I've had, it's always been student advising, student services, career coaching. I have a degree in counseling. So it's like, that's just a part of my human nature. And so it's just, I'm lucky enough to be able to have it be something I can do within my work. Next, I'm going to have Jessica introduce herself, and then she can give her answer to that question as well.
Yes, hi everyone. So the general direction I want to go in, I originally started out in architecture and have clearly not ended up there. I have followed my passion for also helping people, but also for process improvement and data analytics, storytelling, design, and project management. And so I want to continue to do that and seek out those opportunities for my future career goals. So I'm going to pass it to Randy next.
Hi, everyone. My name is Randy Ho. I am from the Peabody part of Hopkins. I am a opera voice performance major here, a second-year master's. And I guess where I would like my career to be heading, ideally being a performer, but every musician has to understand that life has to be a little bit more flexible and we do things outside of what we're prepared to do. So one of the things that I definitely did in my undergrad is I got a marketing degree on top of the music degree. And here at Peabody, I've been able to actually work in the Launchpad office, which is our business development for musicians. we help with not only the career aspects, but we do the career coachings, a lot of resume building, and basically a whole office for work life, and preparing musicians for what they will need in the future. I'm going to pass it on to Steph.
Hi, I'm Stephanie or Steph. I'm a first semester student at the Johns Hopkins School of Nursing. I decided to do the master's entry program. So I actually have an undergrad degree from St. Lawrence University in fine art and film. So completely different than the path I'm on now. But I'm not sure what the other questions were, but I'll just say what brought me to make this decision was a lot of people in my family are in the medical world. My mom's a nurse, so it just seemed like the right fit. Just always wanted to help people. So
Great, thank you. And
Hi everyone, my name is Michael Pham. I am currently a Flex MBA student at Johns Hopkins Carey Business School. I'm actually graduating about a year and a half early. I decided to do it more of a full time, so graduating this summer. And what brought me in terms of my general direction of career is that I want to be a future healthcare executive leader, primarily for people with disability. I myself am disabled, and you don't see enough people in the higher level positions. So I want to change that landscape. So technically, I thought the MBA was going to help me get there, but I'm actually currently doing my administrative fellowship at Stanford Medicine or Stanford Healthcare right now. So in reality, this MBA is actually helping me apply the skills within my current role. So it's been very beneficial in terms of that area. But ideally, the fellowship is already propelling my career towards that executive level role.
great. Well, thank you all for sharing and, I think each time that we've kind of asked this question, it's usually very helpful to just kind of hear different directions, different perspectives that everybody has. And so we're kind of hoping too that kind of same thinking will go into how you share about your experience and what your journey has been while you've been here at Hopkins. So the next thing that we're going to do is our first interactive part. So Jessica has put in here to a chat a link to a Jamboard. And what we'll use this for is a way for you to be able to share and give information, with some added ability to, kind of do some reflection and things like that afterwards. So Jess, would you mind kind of showing, or Jessica's showing a bit, kind of how it works? And then we'll get started with, give you some opportunities.
Yes, absolutely. So, oh, you all see my screen? Okay, great. So basically this is the Jamboard. So when you click on that link, it'll bring you here. At the top is our slides. So where we're at on the pages. So we're on page 1 of 6. And so this is going to be our first question for today. We'll get started on that in just a moment. But as you'll see on the left, I just want to go over some housekeeping. So as Paul mentioned at the beginning, this is purely in aggregate, right? So these documents are going to be shared in that sense. So you each have different colors representing your school rather than you as an individual. And so to add to this board, there's a little sticky note button here. If you hover, it'll show sticky note, and then you click it and you'll see there's the different colors at the top. So yellow for Peabody, School of Nursing is green, and Carey is blue. And then you just start to add from there. So example, let's just say one-on-one coaching. And so then I can click save and I can write another idea and I could just keep going on ideas. Or I can cancel and think about it, move it around. Paul and I will be in the background moving them and trying to cluster so you don't have to focus on that. So you can just generate ideas, but that's basically how it works. So you just, every time you want a new sticky, you go to that spot, pick your color and type in your notes. Any questions about how to use the board? All right, great, awesome. So Paul, do you want to go over the timing?
Yep. So for each of the questions, we'll give you about 2 minutes to kind of go through what you can put into there. I'll keep a timer and then kind of give you like a 30-second kind of, warning to kind of let you know. Feel free to go back and add something if you want to. Once we've gone through the first 3 questions, then we'll go back and just kind of get some feedback on those as well. So if you want to start with question 1, how you felt supported with regards to your professional development, and then you just start filling those in, and we'll give you about 30 seconds or 2 minutes to go through that.
And this can be anything. It can be a service, it could be a resource like VMOC, Handshake. It could be things outside of career. So that could be study abroad or financial aid, whatever that might look like that has helped you and supported your professional development.
All right. So please feel free to continue to add more things in if you'd like. And now we're gonna, if you're ready, we'll go over to the next question. Here we go. There it is. So question 2 is going to be, have you not felt supported with regards to your professional development? So if you can just kind of think about, things you think were lacking or anything like that, that you wish you would have had, that would be good to be able to share. So I'll give you, again, about 2 minutes to answer this. Just add things to your sticky notes and just put them right there and we'll move them around for you. All right, so yeah, if you have more things, please feel free to keep adding them there. And if you're ready, we can move over to the next question of how could you be or how or could you have been better or more supported with regards to your professional development while you've been here at Hopkins? So think about, again, how you could have been more supported with regards to your professional development. So something that looking back, you wish would have been done, or something that you know that happens other places, but hasn't happened as part of your Hopkins experience. So if you take a few minutes to go through that, I'll give you again, 2 minutes to go through that. All right, so feel free to continue to add more things in if you'd like. And if you have something as we're going back through the reflection, if you wanted to. But for right now, we're gonna go back to slide 1 and just kind of get reaction to things that you see here, any type of things you maybe want to explain a little bit more of, or maybe there's things that with Jessica and I can maybe ask you questions on. So if you take a look at that one and just kind of think, to yourself, anything here that kind of stands out or anything that you'd like to add more details on. All right, so I'm going to call on people. So Steph, I'm wondering what you mean by career services, just that you felt really supported by them? Oh, you're muted, Steph.
Sorry, I was muted. They always reach out to us. I actually haven't personally gone to them yet just because I'm first semester.
Yep.
But they always reach out to us and show that they're available and that there's things going on and there's always opportunities. So it's nice to have that kind of safety net when you don't really know what you want to focus in on at the end of the whole year.
But just knowing that they're there is reassuring to you. To
right.
help out whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
Okay. Michael, Randy, any things that you see there that are, you to add more details on?
I mean, I utilize the career service to the max of my ability, and I enjoy it personally because one, when Mary Summer was here, I think we definitely need to be able to encourage folks who definitely have to start intro early on. I did it out of the loop where even though I didn't start my program just yet, I just got connected and just to see what resources are there. And I think making that connection with Mary Summers when I was talking about healthcare management helped me understand more about the platform and how to use it to your personal advantage. That helped me. So that's why I knew more about the one-on-one, resume, the coaching, the interview prep, and that's what they're there for. So not being shy to not limit yourself just to one session, multiple sessions, since that's what we are part of. That's part of our tuition, our package. So people need to know more about that and not be afraid to use it.
Got it.
Yeah, I do have to run here in a second, but I will just say that like Michael, I think I have a different inside view because I work for our career center here at Peabody, where everything I have put down is, something that's either relevant to the general populations or things that I have done in my position here. So I work specifically as the external opportunities person over at Launchpad, where we find gigs outside of the school. We find jobs and we are posting them to Handshake all the time. And then with our grants, we offer 2 grants. We offer one big grant every semester of up to $5,000 for student projects. Maybe they want to put on a concert. Maybe they want to do something. Actually, one of the projects is teaching convicted felons of music within the prison system, and having those kind of projects happen. And we offer that as a $5,000 grant every semester. We also offer monthly logistical grants of up to $1,000 to encourage students to do their own projects and collaborate. And then on top of that, we also offer some way for students to participate in summer programs and help either with their travel funds and or the program paying for itself. So I think that's a lot of what we do. And I would say like Peabody does that for our students. And we also do one-on-one coachings like everybody else has said, and or we do a lot of like basic material checking through our email for professional development, where I've reviewed at least 3 or 4 different websites and 5 different resumes just this week on people applying to programs.
Got it. So Randy, I guess if you do have to go, do you have any for the other 2? Are there any things like you are really kind of want to speak to or anything like that?
I mean, I think in terms of like not feeling so supported, I think it has to do with more that musicians have all been taking a pretty big hit during COVID, as we've seen, and it's been difficult for us all to adapt, especially coming from Zoom now back to in person and having that different connection with your teachers. I think specifically because we have so many departments within a school and then feeling so separate always away from Hopkins itself, we never get that opportunity to really collaborate. Because if you look at the music minors, they have the Shriver Hall, and that is the minors for music minors. And we have Peabody, and we are never going to have performances at Shriver Halls. That is not traditionally happening, and that's something where that's a venue in which we haven't seen for a lot of Peabody students. Another thing about it is like, I think I put down like switching teachers between a department. Even within department, like as a voice student, we have 4 different voice teachers, right? Voice teachers, and you're assigned to one because of their contract. It's not easy to switch into another person's studio when you have an issue or you feel that that person is no longer serving you the best for your current status. So making that switch is dependent on the semester or not being able to move freely because of somebody else's contract. I mean, that makes things hard, especially when it's my money or somebody else's money who is being used for an education in which I find lacking all of a sudden, and that can put a negative connotation towards everything. But yeah, I think that's.
Can I ask a quick clarifying question on that, just so I understand? Would that be equivalent to, say, a PhD student be working with a PI, but that faculty member is not really that supportive of kind of what they're doing? Is that the same type of thing?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Also, Peabody's professors are restricted by a certain amount of students in terms of their contract. So like if a voice teacher has is contracted for 12 students. They have those 12 students. And then if they choose to go over that, they cannot because their contract and or somebody has up to that cap. They can then choose to take a student if they can, but then it needs to be approved by multiple people, not just the department, but it needs to be approved by the academic affairs, and academic affairs will just not let you do that.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Thank you. That's all great information. So,
Awesome. I do have to run, but thank you for having me today.
yeah, thank you for joining. And feel free, if you have other things you want to share, to reach out to either myself, Jess, or Jessica to talk. But I appreciate your time.
And you have access to the link, so if you want to fill in more things, you can do that up until tomorrow.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
So now that we're kind of on the ways that, excuse me, to feel that you weren't supported, any reactions to anything here, Steph or Michael? Or anything that Randy mentioned?
To feel more supported, you said?
They haven't, ways that you haven't, excuse me, not felt supported in regards to professional development.
For me
Well, what I'm
you go.
Oh, go for it. No, go, Steph. Well, for me, what I'm seeing is that even when I'm in my fellowship right now as an admin fellow within healthcare, it would have been nice just for, I'm not sure, in the institution itself to provide us resource of how do you engage with these high executive level leaders. It was like a learning curve for me to really pick up and really understand the different personalities, the different way that people communicate. So I think is how can we be better to engage with folks who are in current higher level position within our own institution, like at Carey, so they could help us and groom us. And can we be able to have that foster where we could go to them if we are stuck in point A to point B? Because it can be a little bit daunting when you're in that space with everyone else and you're new to it. So that's what I was thinking in terms of providing more of access just so people could be aware of.
So when you're saying access, you mean students having access within their school or outside of their school?
Within the school.
Within the school, got it. Because you believe that their perspective on what it is that they know could be beneficial to helping you figure out what you want to do?
The way I see is that you want to have someone who's sort of like your champion, your sponsor. So you are surrounded with people who are in the internal world, but it's also good to have external feedback from leaders that you could rely and count on. I have that, but I just say I don't really have that in a way where how can we create that within our own graduate school that we are in? How can we utilize them to our advantage since they are part of our network and they have been through the situation before? So utilizing their expertise and tips and advice.
Got it.
For me, because I'm just a first semester student, I really only have to go off of like my experience so far. And for me, like financial aid was kind of an issue because I didn't want to take loans out, and I didn't really get offered the financial aid I was hoping and expected. And this was my first choice school either way, so I was planning on coming no matter what. But it's just the cost of the school is so much, and it's like they ask a lot of you in a lot of different ways, because like from like small things like just parking in general, or it's like not free for students when I think it should be, because you spend like hours on campus, you have to pay per hour, or just like paying for living in Baltimore in general, and then the finances on top of everything. So it can be like a lot and daunting.
So it's an added stressor on top of the just going through the program and taking the courses.
Yeah.
Got it.
Especially because I'm pretty sure they stopped doing student loans for the undergrad program, and I don't know if it's just because they think grad students can afford to pay at this time in their lives. I don't really know, but I don't know.
Okay. All right, so let's go, let me see. So if we go to question 3, just real quick, I think we've covered some of these things already, but if there's a way you could felt you've been better supported, more supported in regards to professional development. So Steph, you already mentioned about financial aid. If there's anything else that you can think of that we haven't missed, if you feel like you've covered most everything here, I think we're fairly fine too to go on to the talk about current state, future state stuff.
I just wanted to highlight about seminar and conferences. Just to give you an example, I know like different institutions, for example, the Forbes, where they do their annual top 30 under 30, they actually have student nomination where students who are in sort of their graduate career are nominated to be a part of it and attend the national event. And I think that's like something that Johns Hopkins is really missing, to be honest, like nominating students to attend and really be sort of the highlight where people could go out there and they're not just bringing the great in terms of our own institution, but also for them to build new connection as well. And we, even though we have case studies here and there, it's a little bit different when you attend a national conference or seminar. So that's something that you could definitely get much more out of than just feeling like, oh, I have to compete just to get to the very top. So that's something that I felt was missing.
Got it. Thank you for sharing. Okay. So now let's go and talk a little bit about kind of the current state, future state. So first, I want you to kind of get the framework or your thinking about the impactful touch points of the time that you've been here at Hopkins. So we all see that all students eventually will have a graduation, and then all students usually have an orientation, but there's a lot of things that happen in between and maybe even some things that happen before that. So what we would like you to kind of think about for the first part of this is to think about what have been some impactful touch points that you've had after admissions. So sometime after you've accepted the admissions decision or made the commitment to come to Hopkins, through orientation. So through that onboarding experience, through that maybe like first week of orientation activities that you had to do, or it could be more than that. But think about that time of the time when you made the commitment to come to the time that you actually started. And what were the things that you thought were really good that did happen? And then what were the things maybe you would want to kind of happen going forward? So if you had to kind of dream about, this would have been wonderful to kind of have. So let's just take maybe like a minute and a half, just because the two of us here, or we can talk about it, as a group. But if you have, just get some thoughts, throw them down here, and then we'll save some time to kind of talk about it at the end.
And don't let money or current state things deter you from dreaming big about the future state.
Do you, Paul, is it okay if I like verbalizing it than just typing it, because it's better just to say it out loud? I'm not sure if that's okay with you, since this is a small group.
Um,
I'll ask Jessica. She's our
Sure.
note taker right now. So
yeah,
I'll
just
help out too. Yeah.
just let me know if the notes I'm typing that can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me know if what I'm typing is inaccurate.
Yeah. And Steph, if you want to continue to add things as we're talking, feel free to do that. So either way is fine.
I think some of the most impactful in the beginning, before I started, started my school year, there was new student orientation, which was phenomenal. But I think having sort of that 1 hour engagement was very beneficial, just for people to understand the resources and what's going to be like during your first semester, and where to get everything that you need to be successful during your first time here. I think that was really smart of the current state to continue to have. I think in terms of how do we continue to build in terms of future state, definitely, I know part-time and full-time are two different programs, but we need to be able to really be able to engage with our individuals to know who is coming across from all the different world, different academia background to build that relationship. Because as a full-time student, they do have a special cohort of their own, so they're able to build that relationship with one another. But it would be nice to be able to have that for the Flex MBA, because we don't get to connect with them. We may connect with them on a personal level within our group project, but we know that there are people, hundreds of people out there that we could definitely leverage and get to know one another. So having social events, and I think what I have seen as well in terms of different institutions is having alumni chapters where there's different components where, for example, there are people in the Bay Area, San Francisco. Why don't we host something of a small event that career development or whoever could provide us to be able to host that event and be able to get students involved? Because I think that's something that we could leverage within the Flex MBA students, since they're all around people who may be in the East Coast, West Coast, whatever it is. That's going to be very beneficial because you're able to engage with one another. And it could just be something that they do it either quarterly, once a year, whatever it is, to strengthen that relationship. Because in the end, we want to be able to say, you know, we went to this institution, we want to be able to give back, but we also want to be able to connect as well. I think that's what the whole purpose about going to graduate school, is to connect, but also be able to really expand our networking.
So are you asking about this to be something that goes on continuously throughout the time that a student is here, or just at the beginning part of it? Because we're, so that, just so you know, the other parts of this, we're going to ask about like midpoint, like from orientation to midpoint, and then from midpoint towards the end. So is this something you see at all three of those kind of stages of time, or just something more for the beginning?
I think all stages at the time. So having like in the beginning, if there's a new welcoming reception for all those individuals, have that, and then do at midpoint where you're just checking in with one another, have these little events, you know, and then the end as well.
Okay. Steph, I think I see you put some stuff in here. Is that right? About the administration being extremely down to earth?
Something I noticed immediately was like the admissions people, as well as the faculty, when I would do like the online, just like little Q&As or anything like that just before I came. And even when I did the orientation when I came here, I was just really surprised because this, I mean, it's like a prestigious institution. So you kind of go into it a little nervous, expecting maybe that kind of attitude, but no one had that. And that's kind of what made me even want to come here even more. Like there was no snobbery.
Yep. Yep. No, I think, I guess I kind of, would you say that these were more like formal things that were done, or more informal things?
They were pretty formal. I mean, they were like speeches or during orientation, or just ways of introducing like who runs the school and everything. And just the way, not only just their stories, but like the way they spoke to everyone just was way more down to earth than I expected. And there was like a casualness to it, but even in a formal setting, and even the students, I noticed, like I wasn't sure what to expect with students in a program like this, because it is really rigorous, but everyone's like overall pretty supportive of each other and not as competitive as I expected. Like maybe they are secretly, but it's not as outwardly obvious as it may be in medical school or something. But
right. So just overall, the expectations from both the administration, faculty, and students didn't quite match up with what you thought it was going to be.
Right.
Great.
In a good way.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. All right. So I think that's good. So now maybe we can move to like now the second kind of important kind of touch point and time frame. So, you know, from your orientation, maybe through your first you know, a couple classes. You know, I guess Steph, for you, this would be, you know, very kind of tangible because you're very kind of early on with your program. But you know, if you kind of think about what are those things that have been good to you so far, up until like the midpoint of your program. And so, you know, Michael, if you're further through your program, maybe you're going to have a better perspective on this. But we think about too is like, what else would you want to expect to have happen? Or what do you think are the things that would like that you think it would be good for you to either know about or to be considering about halfway through your program?
Jessica, if you mind taking notes again for me, that would be helpful. So what I was thinking in terms of midpoint, it's like these earlier careers or people who are trying to get into the workforce, getting them engaged and figuring out what type of internship there is. Like, to be honest, like my past institution, I didn't know there was such a residency or internship for healthcare. So I think we need to get on that, like really expose and develop something very cohesive, because these residency and internship is what really get people into their actual fellowship if they do desire to do that. So I think we need to talk more about that and really getting people who already been through the sort of rounds of interviews or also done the internship, bring them back. Those individual students going to be very helpful, just so we can know in terms of how did that process look like for us? What are some tips and tricks that you could provide for these future students to be able to know, like, you know, this is what we have, so let's work on it together. So that's what I was thinking in terms of that, in terms of midpoint check-in.
And so you're kind of talking about the students that are, say, maybe 6 months ahead of you or a year ahead of you. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's different. So I'm not sure, like, for example, someone who may be in a 1-year program, that may look different. So helping them think about their future job opportunities. Someone who may be in a 2-year program, think about getting them into internship by the end of their first year. So it's gonna change depending on the individual in terms of their school year status.
Right. Okay. And it depends on the school and kind of what the requirements are at the school and stuff as well.
Yep.
Steph, anything you can think of?
Yeah, I was like dabbling with what to write, but I guess maybe I was a little confused about the question, but I was
Yeah.
thinking like something impactful for me was that there's kind of like an ease to reach the faculty here that I didn't expect to really continue past orientation, because I know that's kind of like their way of enticing you into the program by being like really excited and everyone, but they're actually easy to get meetings with. Even though the ones who like run the whole program, like you can get a Zoom meeting with pretty easily, even as a first semester. Just the faculty in general, even though they have so many students, it's easy to get in contact with them or like set up a meeting.
Yeah.
Which I think is like really big because it makes it feel more individualized for the person and doesn't feel as big of a school as it is.
So the accessibility, yeah, I would say, yeah.
Yeah.
Access to faculty, perfect, yeah. And then I guess maybe kind of, I don't know if it helped to kind of clarify the question for you, but it would be kind of to be thinking about, you know, as you are kind of progressing in your time at the nursing school is, you know, do you feel like there's anything that would be more beneficial for you to be doing or engaging in or to be kind of encouraged to do halfway through your program as opposed to at the very beginning?
I think they definitely encourage some stuff you just can't do in the first semester, but like they definitely encourage and open up a lot of opportunities for volunteering or like integrating yourself into the actual community of Baltimore, or doing like research projects, or there's like different grants and different things that you can get involved in. It's just like it can be daunting in the first semester because you just don't really have time, but
Yep. Yep.
they do a good job, I would say, of constantly keeping students in the loop, which I like, and they make you feel like included. Even they always send students like invitations to Zoom meetings with people completely outside of the school that they're doing like a space nursing seminar that they're talking to faculty and then people in NASA with, and like you can jump in,
Mhm.
which is so cool to me because like it makes you feel like part of everything, even if you can't go because you have class or something, but they always
Got it.
include everyone.
And when you say they, is they faculty or is they the career office or is it just the
I
school?
think
as a whole?
it's different. There are different programs. It's either career services or source, which is
Mhm.
another service we have, and then student senate or just like nursing association. Like it just depends, but
Yeah. Okay.
I'm constantly getting emails.
Got it. So life of anybody at Hopkins, emails.
Yeah.
All right, well, great, this is wonderful. So for the last one that if we can kind of, again, orient towards is to be thinking about what are the important things that you think should be happening or you have happen for you as you're approaching graduation. So knowing, making that transition from being the student to being the professional, what do you think are going to be some of those important things that we should be recommending to students to do, or you think are really important for all students to be doing, or for
And
yourself
Steph-
personally?
One thing that popped in my head was LinkedIn Learning. I know we have it during our time, but do we get it after when we graduate? Like, it's such a phenomenal tool. And I'm not sure if that's something that our institution to consider to give that as a present to the alumni students as a, here you go, or say, we'll give you one additional year since you graduated. I use it a lot because it's great techniques and tools that could be leveraged outside of the classroom setting. So that's what I saw in terms of future state.
That's a great point. Thank you. I
don't
don't
think
know
we
the
have
answer
that.
to that. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think our school has that, but that sounds nice.
Yeah. And I don't know how the other schools work. I can speak for Bloomberg. So like our services in terms of like using Handshake and things like that, will still allow students to kind of access us as alumni to get questions answered or anything like that. But I don't know for the things like the LinkedIn Learning that's JET authenticated and stuff like that, if there's limits on how long that's allowable for. So, but that's a good thing to add.
Trying to think.
Yeah, at Carey, we do provide access to one executive education course after graduation. So that's something to keep in mind, Michael. But it's
Yeah.
LinkedIn Learning is not an option.
I think, and speaking on that, what you just mentioned, Jessica, I wouldn't have known until you told me about that. I think when we had our first class, how do we make that more known to our students? I've been telling students like, hey, you guys, you get executive sessions after when you graduate once a year. Like, take advantage of it. It's part of your, free academic intensive throughout your entire after you graduate. So I've been letting students know, and then they are just shocked. It's like, what? I did not know this. I think I know it's in the fine print, but we need to communicate that more. Why are we hiding it? We shouldn't be hiding it.
So I think it's interesting. So Michael, you say that, Steph, a lot of, I think what you've been saying is that you're getting constant communication. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's also to this idea is like it's different at different schools in terms of what kind of happens and how information is kind of received. But maybe it just says to me is like maybe we could benefit from understanding how you're receiving information, Steph, that we could apply to a lot of the other schools as well.
Yeah, I just feel like we're always looped in on any discussion going on, and just like the access to information we have is really good. Like the databases we get to use just to look up like things about medicine or anything like that is really like more than, I haven't even really dipped my toe in it much yet, but there's like a lot that they give us, like a lot of resources, which is cool. I think after like the first semester, it's easier to kind of focus in on that kind of thing and really figure out like what you want to do and like utilize career services and then kind of actually use all of these resources a little more focused. But the fact that they're there is nice because I feel like it's information that you're really only given if you're a nursing student or a medical student or something. So it's cool. But yeah, they also give us the like a free membership to the Calm app, which is really nice because we don't really have much free time and it's like very stressful. So it's nice to have that option. I've actually used it a lot, so it's cool. I wish that could like continue, but yeah.
Great. Okay. Any other things that we can kind of talk about? We got about 3 minutes left. Any other things? Like I say, all of these focus groups that we're doing, we're just going to take all these kind of Jamboards, kind of group things together, go back through recordings or anything like that. But are there any other things you can leave us with that can kind of help us to think about how we can plan out the kind of student journey map? Okay. Well, if you don't have anything, that's fine. Feel free to at any point follow up with either myself or Jessica or Jess.
May have had something.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say maybe one thing I think about a lot is like just more opportunities to kind of connect with students, not just from like you're within your own school, but like outside the school and not like academically only, because I feel like that just makes, I don't know, like we had like an IPE event before and not many of the students were too psyched about it in general because it's like school required. I just feel like if it's non-academic related kind of way of getting to know other people in your field, it would be like a cool idea. I don't know.
Got it.
That's all.
Great. All right. So again, thank you for your time. And we want to, as a way to also to say thank you, we'll be following up with a gift of a DoorDash code. So we'll be, once we have all the focus groups completed, we'll follow up with a code. Is it $15, Jess or Jessica? Is that right? Sorry. So a $15 DoorDash code as a way to say thank you for your time and your input, and we really do appreciate it. All right.
Thanks for having us.
Thank
No
you.
problem. All right. Bye-bye.
Yay! We're halfway through. That was number
Yeah.
5.
Yes. All right. I'm going to let Jess in
I'm
here.
going to stop recording.
Oops. Oh, yep. Where's record?